This is my home green, and we're not doing very well. So this is a last-ditch effort to try and fix, to save me from myself, because I continue to buy products and kill it. My name's Tom, and this is my home resto. So basically what you can see is an area of my backyard which I've raised up. The whole backyard kind of slopes away to the fence, and I filled it in with like a high drainage aggregate about a year ago, and I was thinking about just doing a more level piece of lawn when I bought the place. And obviously, as any golfer would know, that instantly turned into an attempt at a golf green. It began with me buying a whole bunch of seeds which were wrong. I had no idea what I was doing, and ended up with quite a nice green patch of grass. I'll put a photo up. Then I put sulfur down on top of the grass and killed most of it. And about 6 months ago, we decided to take the plunge, and I bought 42 square meters of Tiff Tough Bermuda, so I thought that would be small enough of a leaf. It looked pretty good. It didn't roll particularly well, but I also didn't know anything about top dressing. And then I managed to kill that as well. So here we are. This is very honest. There's no lighting effects. This is how my green looks. It's about 50% covered. It's a combination of Tiff Tough Bermuda. I've got bent grass seed down. I've got Poa trivialis seed down. And this is going to be the front to back of me trying to make something that works. Now in Australia it is nearly winter, so not much is going to grow except for bent grass at the moment. I've also got a bit of a problem with, there's a line of shade which doesn't go away in winter as well, so that's been quite difficult to fill in. I think the plan going forward is going to be to just get grass down onto it, and then as spring approaches we'll try and turn what we have into something that might function more so as a green. So try and get something, even if it's Poa or some sort of ryegrass. I just need something to grow because we're having a lot of wash problems as soon as it rains. All my seeds kind of going down off the edge, which is a little retaining wall down here. So in this video, I'm going to be finishing. I've just thrown a bit of top dressing down, which is just a little bit of sand mixed with some compost. I really just need some organic matter there. I know I should be fertilizing, which I do, but we are really just trying to keep some seed on the soil so we can get some purchase. I'm going to throw it in a time lapse now. I'm going to finish the top dress. We're going to throw a little bit of seed down with some seed starter. It's just a combination which I'll throw up on the video in a sec. Enjoy. So I've just mixed up I'm about to mix up some of this. I know it's a bit of a laugh, but it's from Bunnings, Fairway Green. I have bought seeds from a whole bunch of different suppliers, and they're pretty good. It's mostly me that's the problem. So. But I found this stuff, if you do it the way they ask you to do it, it comes up quite nicely. And although I've got the mixture here, there's fine leaf ryegrass, I'm sure it's some sort of perennial. There's Kentucky bluegrass, which I haven't had much experience with, and there's red fescue. So 35% rye, 51 bluegrass, 14 fescue. And it's definitely not what they use on most golf courses. Probably none, to be honest, especially ryegrass or bluegrass on a green. But like I said, I'm trying to get some greenness happening just so I can lock in some seeds. I found the places that have green on them, when I seed, they tend to hold the seed better and they get thicker and the bare spots remain bare. So another thing I'd definitely be doing is buying the starter. So this is a Munns product, and so is that. So I've done it without Munns before, without the starter fertilizer, and I nearly had nothing happen. Whereas when I did it with the Munns the first time, I had a very, very good success rate. So it is designed, I'm trying to do this super cheap, but I don't think you could do it as well without that. It's about a $10 product or 12 bucks at Bunnings. So I basically got it in a big tub here. I put about half the product in. It says oversowing about 100 meters, and this is about 50 squares. So I'm just going to mix that around off camera. Then I'm going to spread it. I've got a little spreader over there. They're worth about 20 bucks. That's another product I'd probably be looking at. It's kind of hard to get it even without that kind of thing. You can do it by hand. It's definitely, especially for bare patches, but if you want to get a nice purchase over quite a bare area, in my experience, it's much easier to do. And don't do what I've done and not realise there's an adjuster for how big your seeds are. So close it off at the start. I remember the first time I bought then grass was about $200, and I had the cavity fully open, and I basically dropped a pile of it straight on the floor. So shut it off, and then I would keep backing it off and seeing until you get a nice spray happening. Obviously don't want to run through it too quick as well. Okay, so I've used my lawn spreader and I've got the all the product out. I've probably used half of the box plus about half of the starter fertilizer. Really important to keep some of the seed that you have. It's extremely unlikely you'll ever get all of the area covered on the first try, so you'll need to be doing some overseeding. If you're happy to buy more, no problems, but if you don't need to use it the first time, I'd say it's way better to go at the rate they ask and save some rather than just do a bit extra. Keep it, you'll thank yourself later. So what I'm going to do now, I've just spread it. It's quite windy, so I'm going to move fairly fast. I'm going to rake it across and then across the other way, sort of in a like a crosshatch pattern. In my experience, it's really important to get the seed below the surface. I've rarely seen seed that stays on top germinate, and it always tends to be the stuff that's covered just by a couple of mils. So I'm going to rake it through. Then I'm going to roll it. I've got a mower which I'll show you in a sec, and then we're going to water it in. And we'll do an update, I'd say. I think the germination time's about 5 days, so we might do a 5-day check-in and see if we've got anything happening at that point. Okay, so one of the things that became apparent to me as soon as I started to do this thing was you cannot do it with a rotary mower. So a rotary mower is any mower that has the blades underneath it spin. The type of grass that they use on golf courses is so fine, the rotary mowers will either just brush over it or they'll just dig so far in if you don't have any level spots that you'll have problems, you'll pull perp out or you'll damage it. So what I did about a year ago, I went on Facebook Marketplace and I bought a reel mower. It was cheap. It's probably not quite the grade you need to have a proper putting green, but it's certainly not the problem anymore. I've got bigger problems than the type of mower. So these can be very expensive. There's a couple of industry standards which I haven't used, but if you've got the cash, this is probably one of the most expensive parts of maintaining it, is using the proper mower. So I've got this set to about 10 mil. That's kind of what the green is at. You can't really tell because it's just been top dressed, but a reel mower is kind of important. You can use a push behind, but if you're going to do, a manual reel mower, but if you're going to do that, you'll need something extremely flat. You have to take a lot of time leveling the lawn, and you have to do a lot of upkeep, things like scarifying, because unless the blade's perfect and there's no thatch or anything like that, you just won't get the cut unless you've got a powered mower. So I'm not going to turn this on. I'm going to lean it on its back. It's got a big drum roller at the back, and I'm actually just going to roll it along to push the seed into the soil. And then we're done. I'm going to water it in, and we're going to water it every day, multiple times a day. It stays quite wet in this part of the yard for a lot of the day, but we're going to make sure the top stays wet, so we'll water it every morning. I'll chuck the sprinkler on a timer in the middle of the day. You can buy timers for about $30 from Bunnings. And then I'll water it when I get home. And we'll do that for the first couple of weeks and see where we get to. So I'll probably try and set the camera up in this sort of situation. And hopefully I might do it in the afternoon so you can kind of get a similar idea of if it's doing well or if it's doing nothing. All right, so I've got the sprinklers set up. So just to recap, this was Tiff Tuff and a whole bunch of other rubbish. I killed most of it, and now we're making a real push to try and bring it back as best we can. It is nearly winter, so I granted there's not much sun, but we're just going to see if we can do a little bit better. So have a quick look, and we're going to check in again in about 5 to 7 days to see if we've got any seedlings starting to appear. So what I've done, I threw some sand and compost down in a mix to take a new level on it, just to top dress a tiny bit and get some organic matter in there. I have mixed up the seed, the Fairway Green from Bunnings, with the Munns starter. Spread that, raked it 2 ways, rolled it. Now I'm going to give it a reasonable drink, but not too crazy. I think a problem I've had before is overwatering. And especially if you have heavy rain, a lot of those little seeds can just get washed away. So I'm actually just going to stop this in about in a couple of minutes. I'm going to water it for 5 minutes just every 6 hours, just to keep the top level moist for the first week. And then we'll see how we go. I'll probably try and stick with mowing it as well, because I don't want to disrupt the seeds. So it'll probably look super bushy, but I'll give it a mow in a week or two and we'll see where we're at. Thanks for watching. You can like and subscribe. And yeah, if you want to see more of me, Oogie, the Green, thanks for watching.